Good evening. This is the Board of Education meeting for which adequate notice under the Open Public Meetings Act was provided by written notice on January 3rd, 2019 to the Courier News, the Echo Sentinel, the Star Ledger, Tappan, DeWarren, and the clerks of the Borough of Watchung and the townships of Greenbrook, Long Hill, and Warren. Mr. Stice, can we have a roll call, please?
Ms. Barone?
Here.
Mr. Mizio? Mr. Fahey? Mr. Hayek? Mr. Hunsinger? Mr. Martins?
Here.
Mr. Morrison?
Here.
Sober?
Here.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Here.
And Mr. Fallon.
Here. So we have a quorum. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Now I'll entertain a motion in accordance with the provision of the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act. Be it hereby resolved that the board move into executive session to discuss confidential personnel and legal matters and WHREA negotiations, after which action will be taken. It is expected that the matters discussed in executive session will be made public as soon as the need for confidentiality no longer exists. Is there a motion?
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We'll be back at 7:30. Good evening. We're back in public session now. We'll turn to the superintendent for the superintendent's comments.
I know everyone, I'm sure, is watching the forecast for tomorrow, so I did send a message out at 5 o'clock that we will be making a decision tomorrow morning. Other than that, I don't have too much to share. There were a few of us at the Chinese New Year celebration about a week and a half ago. It was a lovely celebration. Lisa DeMizio was there, and Susan was there with me as well. It was very nice. And we are in the midst of the beginning of the second semester, so I don't have too much else to share. The students have a lot of updates in their report on the academic happenings and athletics happenings, so Kayla will share a bunch of that.
And I will hold my comments in case some of the things aren't mentioned. I trust they will. Welcome,
You're totally
Rebecca.
fine. Perfect time.
So, Mr. Stice, the business administrator's comments.
Thank you, Mr. President. We had an operations meeting prior, and I'll let the operations committee give the report because some of it's relevant to tonight. But one of the things we did discuss was the bid results for, which happened on a snow day. How about that? But the bid results for the locker room, the Gym 7-8 locker room. And specifically what we discussed was whether we were going to recommend the base bid award, which is within budget, or the base bid plus alternate 1 and 2. Alternate 1 and 2 comprise the Gym 7-8 air conditioner. You can't do one without the other, so you have to do both. So either the board awards the base bid or the bid plus the alternates. The recommendation, and we will explain in a little bit more detail, will be for the base bid plus alternate 1 and 2. And that amount, and it's on item D4. So on D4, I had all the bids laid out that we had received, and we received 11, which is good. You know, when you get 11 bids, you know you got a good number. Our lowest responsive bidder did withdraw their bid, alleging some errors in their calculations. So our next step was to go to number 2, Northeastern Interior. So the recommendation below, the resolved part, will read, resolve the Board of Education awards the Gym 7-8 locker room alterations project publicly opened on February 12th to Northeastern Interior Services in the amount of $1,559,000. And to get us to that budget number, we have to transfer $165,000 from one of our maintenance accounts. We delayed a project just in case this bid were to come in over, and it did. And to do that, we need county approval to do that. So I have a walk-in agenda item D13, which spells out our request to the county to transfer $165,000 into a capital project. specifically the locker room. So those are the two items we're adding. And the operations committee will probably discuss that a little bit more.
Okay. We have Rebecca Baitel and Caleb Clark.
The Watchung Hills mock trial team competed in the New Jersey Bar Foundation's high school mock trial competition at the Somerset County Courthouse in Somerville, advancing to the county semifinals. In the opening round on January 3rd, our defense team, led by attorneys Megan Gergis and Moha Trivedi, defeated Bridgewater, while our plaintiffs team, led by attorneys Ian Martin and Philip Ding, lost to a close decision to Montgomery. Senior Elizabeth Wood was named Best Witness in this round for her performance as the plaintiff's expert orthopedic witness. In the semifinals, attorneys Ian Martin and Moha Trivedi competed against Mount St. Mary's. Although they did not qualify for county finals, sophomore Adithi Adesumile was named Best Witness in this round. On Thursday, January 26th, hypnotist Vincent Mendoza performed in the PAC for our students and community. Vincent hypnotized approximately 20 Watchung Hills student volunteers and asked them to perform a variety of tasks. Vincent had students listening to the music coming out of their shoes, forgetting how to count their fingers, and barking like dogs. The audience enjoyed the performance. This event was sponsored by the freshman class. 8th grade parents attended curriculum night on Monday, January 28th, 2019 in the PAC. Supervisors presented information on the required 9th grade courses, placement criteria, and elective selections. They also shared co-curricular opportunities. We received positive feedback from parents. The PowerPoint is on the Watchung Hills Regional High School website as a news item and under each department webpage.
16 students were inducted to the Triumph Music Honor Society on January 31st at 7 p.m. in the WHRHS Performing Arts Center. 6 of the inductees were named to the chapter's executive board. Co-presidents Kira Anthony and Ishika Agrawal, Vice President Francesca Infante Meehan, Secretary Katie Tan, Treasurer Jeremy Hui, and Historian Taylor Hetvick. The guest speaker at the ceremony was Helen Cha Pyo, Artistic Director of the Warren Institute for the Performing Arts and conductor of the New Jersey Youth Symphony. Script and Cues Winter Cabaret took place on Tuesday, February 5th in the PAC. Students performed 14 acts in small groups, duets, and solos. The audience included students, teachers, and community members. Boys basketball, 19-5. The team has been on fire this season, enjoying a very successful record. They host Immaculata tonight in the SCIAA tournament. Girls basketball, 12-10. The girls have had a string of wins after a few disappointing losses, but they got their groove back and are taking on Boundbrook tonight in the SCIAA tournament. In the Skyland Conference tournament, our ice hockey team upset 100 Central to advance to the semifinals. Boys and girls swimming both advanced to the second round in the NJSIAA tournament. Indoor track teams are competing in numerous meets as they enjoy pole vault victories and run hard for the win. Laura Bayens, Bradley Gelmert, and Gretel Gelmert have advanced to the meet of champions. Boys fencing. Congratulations to the team as they captured the District 3 Savory Championship. The team will continue to compete this Sunday in the squad tournament along with the girls fencing team. Wrestling 15-2. Wrestling is keeping with their crown as they captured 3 titles this season. Somerset County North 2 Group 5 section and the District 15 Championships. The team is advancing to the Regions tournament this week.
I just want to add congratulations to all those sports team, and it's also my understanding that our wrestling coach, Mr. Huss, has been named Coach of the Year.
Yes. Yep.
And congratulations and appreciation to him as well. Thank you. Alex, this is the first opportunity for public comment, which will be limited to agenda items only. Second opportunity for public comment will be at the end, later in the meeting, and all comments are limited to 5 minutes. Anyone wishes to address us, please step forward. Seeing no one, I will close the first opportunity for public comment. Board discussion, we are set for March 22nd for the board retreat.
Not the 11th?
No, I think
Eleven.
March
it's
I thought it was
11th.
11th.
11th, excuse me, yes.
11th, right?
Yes, it is the 11th. And we're planning on beginning at 6 o'clock here in the media center.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. 6
Yeah,
o'clock,
so we
okay.
can advertise it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you, ladies, do not have to attend that. You're not expected to be there, just so you're aware. And we'll make sure Jed knows that. as
You're
well.
welcome. It's a
Yes.
public meeting.
Yes,
don't
you
have
are.
to.
Okay, discussion of addendum items.
Mr. President?
Yes,
Because we don't have an operations committee section on this particular meeting, can we just kind of let the board members
Sure,
know
yeah.
about the budget, where we're at? Okay. You want me to do that?
No, I can do that.
Okay.
So Tim's obviously pointing out that we met before this meeting, and we typically will put together minutes for you to review in advance of our next meeting. But just to give you a sense of where things are, we did look at preliminary budget items, things that we would like to invest in, things that we don't think at this time we can invest in. It's obviously based on a bunch of assumptions as to how much aid we expect to get. Typically, at the first meeting in March, we share that information, although the governor's address won't be until that date, so we won't really have that information in total. But it was our thought that we would still share what we have with you so that you could be better educated, have time to ask and have your questions answered before the following meeting where the numbers should be solid fundamentally.
so our anticipation is that by the meeting on the 5th, if not before then, everybody on the board will get a preliminary budget book.
Right.
It went out to the operations committee tonight, and that way we can have a presentation by Tim on the budget as it exists at that point, with the expectation that when we meet again on the 19th, we'll have more information, we'll have the state aid information, but people will have had 2 weeks, everybody on the board, with the budget books, so that we can have a fuller discussion.
And then since we are voting on the 7-8 project as well as the walk-in agenda to transfer the money, just to give you some background about our thought process, it turns out that part of the chillers that we have are substantially older, and the air conditioning for Gym 7 and 8 would depend on that. And it was told to us that they would need replacement regardless, whether we do the air conditioning for Gym 7 and 8 or not. So the second add-on item in that bid is almost something that we're going to incur regardless of what happens, and it actually happens to be the more expensive part compared to the air conditioning for Gym 7 and 8. And the thought was that the combination of trying to preserve the new wood floors in those gyms, the fact that they get a ton of use, especially over periods of time where it is warmer, and that part 2 of the bid we would have to do anyway in less than 5 years, it just made sense to do it all together from an economic perspective, and that's why that's our recommendation.
Questions, anybody? Thank you, Greg.
Sure.
Progress towards district goals?
We had put, I think we've been asked to put those on, as that came up at the last meeting, so we just put, I don't know why that's not under board discussion, that should
Yeah,
actually
it's the
be
wrong
on,
spot.
that should actually be on the next, that's a mistake, that should
Should
probably
be
be
on-
on the work session for board discussion, but last meeting, that just got brought up as a board discussion item, about talking about what we wanted to do for progress toward district goals and board
Right,
goals, and you had
so-
asked folks to think about that. So this is kind of a reminder, because I think this is gonna be a retreat topic, or whatever you guys would prefer, but yes, sorry, that's in a little bit of a weird spot on the agenda.
What do we want exactly? So that, in terms of,
Well-
that's what we're supposed to be thinking about.
Thinking about what we want the administration to present to us.
Right, on some sort of regular basis, and what would that regular basis be?
Yes. Okay. Brings us to action items.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items A1 through A8 and A13.
Second.
Is there any discussion of resolutions A1 through A8 and A13? Hearing none, could we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Excuse me. Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Martins?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Ms. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items A9 through A12 and A14.
Second.
Thank you both. Any discussion of resolutions A9 through A12 and A14? We have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items C1 through C19.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on resolutions C1 through C19? Do we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Martins?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move items D1 through D10 and D12 and 13.
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion on resolutions D1 through D10, D11, D12 and D13? Mr. Stiles, can we have a roll call vote, please?
Okay, Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Martins?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
And Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Mr. President, I'd like to move item D11.
Second.
Thank you. Discussion on resolution D11. Seeing none, could we have a roll call vote, Mr. Stiles?
Ms. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. Fahey?
Yes.
Mr. Hayek?
Yes.
Mr. Hunsinger?
Yes.
Mr. Morrison?
Yes.
Mrs. Ober?
Yes.
Dr. Shabilsky?
Yes.
Mr. Fallon?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
We're now at the second opportunity for public comment, which is not limited to agenda items. If anyone wants to address us, please step forward. Seeing no one stepping forward, I will close the second opportunity for public comment. We're now at other business. Any board members have other business to raise? If not,
Motion to adjourn?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all.